Cashflow Diary Podcast, episode 56.
Congratulations, you showed up. Give yourself a high five in celebration of your success. Welcome to the Cashflow Diary, where new and experienced investors come to take confident action towards their goals. Your host is a family man, a real estate entrepreneur, investor, coach, and instructor. As a master facilitator of Robert Kiyosaki's Cashflow 101 game, he's inspired many to begin their journey into creating cash flow for themselves and their family. And now, here he is to offer you the tools required to earn the income desired. Your cash flow coach, Jay Massey.
All right, and welcome to another episode of the Cashflow Diary Podcast. I am here and excited for you because there are many times in your entrepreneurial career where you are looking to develop various skills. You don't know what those skills are. You just know that you, at the end of the day, you're like, I want to have a business. How on earth can I take it to the next level? What am I missing? What don't I know? How come all these other people seem to be doing so well? Why not me? And what we're trying to do here is give you access to all of the people who can help you do all the things that you're wanting to do. Yes, you guys know I do real estate. I like real estate. I should be doing real estate. Not all of us should be doing real estate to develop cash flow. Now, if you agree with me, though, and you like real estate, clearly you should be doing real estate. In fact, for those of you who are looking for a way to continue and further that education and deepen it when it comes to real estate, go over to learninvestingnow.com. Again, that's learninvestingnow.com. Completely free course for you right there. Boom. See, done. Second, for those that you thinking that, you know what, I don't want to learn. I just want to do. Perfect. No problem. We got a new system set up for you. Go over to begininvestingnow.com. That way you can get started. Download a free ebook teaching you how to buy and hold. Even includes a bonus video where I show you 5 different ways to buy and hold real estate using none of your own money or credit. Go there right now, begininvestingnow.com. Now, that's enough for real estate for today, right? Now we're going to talk about business and we're going to build some cash flow, because part of being able to build any business is understanding why you're doing it in the first place, how you're going to reach your marketplace, and making sure that you are that difference maker that people are attracted to, not that you are repelling people. Some of us repel people and we don't even know it. And what it comes down to is we've got to learn the skills. And sometimes that skill, the thing that we think we have to learn or work on the most, is actually ourselves. Here's the point. Today's guest is by far an expert in being able to help you with all of the things that I just mentioned. And he's going to share it with you for free. So listen, take notes. If you're washing dishes, stop, grab a notebook, write it down. He's going to give you some nuggets of wisdom that will help you to begin to build your own cash flow as well. Today, I've got with me Mr. Ryan Moran. Ryan, thank you, first of all, for being here. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for taking the time. One of the things that I appreciate about being an entrepreneur is just the fact that we all have various things that we can share and inspire people with, and we all master certain topics and niches. Niches? Did I say that right? Something like that. Anyway, you get the point. And we are willing to share what that information is with whomever will listen. But for the 2 people who may not know who you are, could you do me a favor? Tell us a little bit about who Ryan Moran is and how did you get started? What's your origin story?
My origin story. My mom and my daddy loved each other very, very much.
Nice. Well, I like the words origin story because I always think of it in terms of like a Marvel or DC comic. You know, every time you read, Wolverine, ooh, it's the origin story. And, those things make me, and to some degree, I feel like entrepreneurs are superheroes. I could be wrong, but we'll find out.
In that case, I was just an average nerdy kid until college when I was bit by a spider and I started a business from my dorm room. That's my origin story. Now, I'm most famous, I guess, for teaching people how to make money on the internet, but I didn't like doing that. I didn't like teaching it. I never wanted to be a guy who taught it. And so I shut down all my products, and now I just talk about it for free. So all the stuff that I would have charged people money for, we're just going to talk about for free on this call, because I never really liked charging people money for teaching that. I just didn't enjoy it. So now we're just going to talk about it for free. I started my first business when I was 18 years old from a college dorm room, and I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I actually thought I wanted to have a real estate business. That's what I thought I wanted to do. But like probably a lot of people who listen to the show, I was spinning my wheels a lot, learning by reading a bunch of books, listening to everything I could listen to, but not really taking any meaningful action. And really that came down to that strategy wasn't a fit for my personality. So takeaway number one is not every vehicle is going to be right for every person. You know, just because more
Oh,
people have made money, have become millionaires in real estate back whenever that stat was assessed, doesn't mean that in 2014 it's the best vehicle for you. I actually still consider myself a bit of a real estate investor, but I just do it differently. I do digital real estate investing. I
right.
put up websites that make a whole lot of money. And then you know what I do with that money, Jay? I invest it into long-term real estate. I invest it into dividend-paying stock. I make my money. The origin of my money is created online. I like it that way because I can make it out of thin air.
Right.
I manufacture money out of thin air on the internet. And I know that sounds hypey, but don't worry, I don't have anything for sale anymore, so I can say it.
You have a printing press, basically.
Yeah, basically,
I like it.
if you do it right, the internet just can spit out money for you, and then you can do whatever you want with that money, whether that's reinvest it or buy a big fancy car, which is what a lot of my stupid friends have done, and I don't recommend you do that. But you make your money, I make it online, and then I invest it into other long-term assets and go on a lot of vacations. So that's my strategy. And I started that from college. I've obviously refined it since then. Internet's changed a little bit, just like real estate has changed a little bit. Your skill is never perfected. It always continues to be refined, but that's my strategy. I make my money on the internet and I invest it into other things and I do what I want.
Exactly. Totally understood. One of the things that I like about what you said, which is pretty funny, it reminds me of a story. You said not every vehicle fits you. And for a long time, I thought, and then you mentioned silly, stupid cars. So this is like perfect. I thought I wanted a Lamborghini. And that's what I thought I wanted. And then one day I did a presentation at a Lamborghini dealership, and then I wanted to go for a test drive. And for those of you who've never physically seen me in person, I'm about 6'4", a little over 200 pounds. I'm tall, okay, and I'm not Italian. So these sports cars are made for Italian short people, and I'm not that. It just didn't fit, and I couldn't get behind the wheel, and I was so discouraged. And I was just like, I guess this vehicle isn't for me. No matter how much I built up around it, my lesson was I'm not going to be a Lamborghini driver anytime soon. So it's very appropriate that you bring that up because, yes, real estate has a very strong history. But at the same time, there could be many other ways. And similar to yourself, I like how you mentioned we use something because you're going to be either investing your assets or investing your time. If you're going to invest your labor, I say take your labor and make an asset with it, which is what you've done. And then you take that income from those assets to do whatever you want to do with. And I love the fact that you call it online real estate. So let's keep going. Help me understand, how do you go from college student to, I know, online real estate is where it's at?
Well, the important thing of what you just said, first of all, is that you can't get rich trading your hours for dollars. It takes time to create assets that then take no more time to put money in your pocket. And I'll make that trade all day long. Yes, we have to put in some time, but the effort should be to free us of our time over time. So what I started doing when I was in college was I started building little websites that would rank in Google, and they'd rank for specific key terms that would get traffic from the search engine. And then I would put ads on those sites and I would sell things on those sites. And that's how I made my money. And that's how I paid for college. That's how I had a $200,000 income stream per year by the time I graduated college. I was 21 years old. You should never give a 21-year-old $200,000 a year. That's not, and I was going to school to be a pastor, so I was tamer than almost all of them. But you should still never give $200,000 to a 21-year-old. And that is actually a nice portal into a bit of a side conversation, Jay, but I want to touch on it now, is that money is a magnifier of whoever you are. If you're a jerk, money is just going to make you a louder jerk.
Say that again louder, please.
Money is just like alcohol, Jay. Money is an amplifier. So if you're a generous person and you give you more money, you're going to become more generous. So whoever you are now is not going to change when you make more money. Whoever you are now is just going to be amplified when you have more money. So a lot of people think that money is going to change them. It's not. It's just going to amplify everything. It's going to amplify your good qualities and your bad qualities. So myself as a 21-year-old, I started making a lot of money, and I hadn't really worked out all of my insecurities yet. So they just get louder when you make a lot of money. And so that was me. I made all this money, and it was like, well, shoot, now what am I doing with my life? Now I have all this, what felt like responsibility of what am I going to do with this money? And it wasn't until really I got that you have to give before you get. And what that was kind of the secret to happiness for me was I had spent all this time worrying about how do I get more money? How do I accumulate as much as possible? Because then I'll feel safe. Because then I'll feel happy. Then I won't have to worry about money. Then I'll wake up in the morning and do what I want. No, the truth is you wake up in the morning and you're bored and you think, what the heck do I do with my time? That's what happens when you become financially free. If you don't, step one, decide what you want your lifestyle to look like once you make the money. That is step one. I don't care if you're going through real estate, internet marketing, you're making a killing on dividend-paying stock. I don't care what it is that you're getting your cash flow from. If you don't decide what you want your lifestyle to look like once you get the money, you will never achieve that dream. You just won't. That is step one. And that was a hard lesson for me to learn. And that was kind of my transition where I was making a lot of money on the internet, and I graduated. I had all this time on my hands, and it was like, well, shoot, I don't know what the heck I want to do. Like now I don't have to get up and go to class. And it was cool when I could come home from class and make a few $100,000 on the internet. But now what? Now I'm bored. Now, and I mean, that sounds cliche. Boo-hoo me. I'm making a $250,000 as a 21-year-old and I'm sad. Like, boo-hoo me. But that's what's going to happen if you don't decide what you want your lifestyle to look like once you make the money. So
I got it.
That's why I did things like stop teaching make money online strategies. I just didn't find it fulfilling, and now I only do things that make me happy.
I get it. Just as a quick story, about 2, maybe 3 years ago now, what happened for me is that I did step one. The problem with my step one of what I thought was my lifestyle design is that I misjudged how long it would take me to hit those goals.
Sure.
And I got there significantly faster. And I spent an entire summer exactly bored, like you were talking about. And then, so what I did is that I kid you not, I picked up some remote control helicopters and cameras. And and that is what I did for like months. I just was like, I got nothing else to do. So, people are paying rent. Might as well go ahead and go take photos and learn photography. And I was sad. Not only was I bored, but I was sad because I was by myself. I should have called you, it seems like, right there, if we had only known. But I like what you mentioned. It's not just about the money. And that's the thing, guys. We as investors, as entrepreneurs, we don't just make a dollar. We have to make a difference. And when you can choose with what you do to make a difference and a dollar simultaneously, that is way more rewarding than just making a dollar. Once you learn how to earn and create capital and cash and value, that's just the beginning of the story. The question is how are you going to responsibly accumulate your wealth and, more importantly, go out there and distribute it among many, many people and help them create some too. That's why I like it. I mean, you done got me started about liking real estate again, because I like creating jobs. I like making sure that people have clean, safe, affordable places to stay. And now we're doing that all across the world. And everybody needs a place to live, live, work, play, or lay. And when you put all that together, it makes it lots and lots of fun. And I can hear so many similar things coming from you right now that either I've said or I felt like I've said before in many different ways. So I'm loving where this is going. Please share with us how you decided to go to that next step. I'll say that next evolutionary step. You've got the $250,000 coming in. You've got the time. You've got all those things. Which, by the way, I don't know if you put this together, guys. The one thing he did not need when while he was at college was a job. Many times we go to school because we think that's going to get us the better job. He created a job that was way better than the job he was likely going for at the time, which I absolutely love, by the way.
Sorry to interrupt, Jay, but what is this job thing that you speak of?
I'm sorry. I do speak a foreign language every now and again.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
My bad.
I don't. Is it a soft J? Is it yob?
Yob.
Okay.
Yes, it's a yob. They have these things that are out there. For some people, they're allergic to them. It sounds like you would be one of them. So
maybe, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. You should. They probably have a pill for that too.
Okay, I don't want to take that. I don't want to take that pill.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. Don't blame you. But I appreciate the fact that you've done that. You've done the work, and then you realize the same thing. It's not just about having and possessing cash. It's not just about having or possessing assets. There's something. Talk to us a little bit, because I try to explain this from time to time, but I'm curious because I think you're going to have a good perspective. How does it feel knowing that with your mind, literally your mind, you can go out there, execute a strategy, and solve your money problem? Because I tell people all the time, no one on this planet has a money problem. All of us have an idea problem if we're lacking money. What would you say?
That, Jay, is security. Most people think that having $1 million in real estate and it spitting out $15,000 a month in cash flow is security. That's not security. Security is the feeling of knowing that no matter what happens, you can go out and create wealth and value for other people, and then you get some of it in return. That is security. The knowing that no matter what the economy does, that what happens with Obamacare, that whoever is president, whoever is Speaker of the House, whatever country you live in, you can create value, and that value will put money in your bank account and allow you to live whatever lifestyle you want. That is security, and it can come from a variety of different sources. Now, the way that you go about reaching that point of being secure does not lie in a tactic. Because what most people do when they're starting their search for cash flow is they come at it from a point of, what can I get? What is going to give me the quickest path to achieve what I want? And I think that is the opposite and the slowest path to financial freedom. The way that you get financial freedom through a way that is not one of these job things that you speak of is by looking and assessing what are the assets that you have that are valuable to other people. What is the asset you have now that creates value for somebody else who's willing to pay for it? That is how you create a business or an income stream that is, in the old way of thinking, unconventional. I believe it's becoming conventional, and I believe in 50 years it's going to be commonplace, maybe the norm, to be more entrepreneurial minded. But for now, during this transition period, the way that you transition is by looking at the value that you're creating. Jim Rohn, if you don't listen to Jim Rohn, you need to start listening to Jim Rohn. He says that you don't get paid for your time. You get paid for the value that you bring to the marketplace. Now, it takes time to create value, but you don't get paid for your time. You get paid in direct proportion to the value that you bring to the marketplace. And that is the exchange that happens. You exchange your value for compensation. And so all we need to do to make money on the internet or as a real estate investor or as a business person is to look at, where is there an exchange of value being had, and how can I provide value so that I get compensated for it? I'll give you an example. When I decided to drop the business where I was teaching people how to make money online, I just didn't feel satisfied anymore. I felt like I was it felt like one of those things where I didn't feel like I was filled up by doing it. And as a result, I didn't enjoy it anymore. So I went through a transition where I decided to drop that business and start some new cash flow streams because I was tied to this business. It was feeling like one of those job things, and I wanted more of the passive cash flow. So I decided to build real businesses with systems and processes and people implementing things that I wasn't going to be implementing, but still made me money because that's what we want, right? Cash flow, not that I was building a high paying job or I was the founder, but I was still working at it 60 hours a week. I wanted the real cash flow. So I started looking at new businesses and I was just looking at where is their money being spent. And now most of my businesses are Amazon based or e-commerce based. So the first one that I started in this transition period was I found that there were people who work out like myself were spending massive amounts of money on supplements, on proteins, on training courses on how to put on muscle, and nobody was doing a very good job at marketing. Nobody was doing a very good job at product quality. So I partnered with a buddy of mine and I said, you work at the product quality part. I'm going to let you worry about the product quality because you're a researcher. That's your value that you're bringing to the marketplace. Me, I'm a marketer. I know how to sell. So if you worry about the product quality and I worry about the marketing, we can bring something of tremendous value to the marketplace that people are going to want to compensate us for. And then we can outsource the rest. We can have a team in place that does the rest. And so now I only focus in something that I'm bringing real value to the marketplace, but I'm not getting compensated for my time because I own the business. And the same is true for my partner. And that was my first I'll call it a real business outside of me teaching people how I made all this money online, which I didn't enjoy doing.
Understood.
So that was me bringing value to the marketplace, Jay, and that is how we all truly get compensated. So if you want to be financially free, you just need to look at where is your value that is compensated in a marketplace atmosphere, and then go provide that value to the people who are willing to pay the most money.
Absolutely. Now, I want to pull out a couple of things for those of you who are not washing dishes but listening, okay? So that you can take some time to hear some things. The first two words he used in this example were transition period. Yes, we are definitely in a transition period. Remember, the U.S. started self-employed. We're clearly headed back that direction for many, many different reasons. You and I, if you're listening to my voice right now, today, you are in that transition period. Don't wait for it to come. It's already here. Yep. But understand this. Where there is chaos, there is cash flow. When there's transition, there is chaos. Understand that. And right now, this is when those opportunities and those ebbs and flows are there to be identified. But one of the most important skills he just demonstrated for you, if you didn't hear what I'm about to share, you're going to need to go back, hit the rewind button, and listen to it again. But he totally just showed you that questions are the answers. Many times people want to be told, we want to be told what to do, where to go, how to think. No. Ask the questions. He broke down the opportunity as he sees it through questions. That's how it is done. You have to identify those questions and those pain points and find those people that are willing to pay keywords the most for it and go out there and give them what they are asking, dare I say, begging for. And then when you organize those people and give them a process through which to go through, that's what we end up calling a business and delivering that product or service in a different format or way that just is begging to be delivered. They're asking for it, and you just got to learn how to find them. And then probably the most important piece is team. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Wealth is a team sport. You don't do this thing solo, okay? Not everybody. You're not going to be a one-man band in real estate or any business. I think you've heard that before. Yeah, you probably have heard it from nearly every person that has been on the show. And here it is again. You got to learn to be a good team member, but most importantly, you're the team leader. If that's the role that you need to begin to fill and fulfill in various different ways. A lot of that for all of us comes through personal development. We didn't go wake up, go, ooh, I'm the team leader, let's go. We had to learn how the interpersonal skills and how to make those things happen. But keywords that he said is he did what he did best, and he recognized what someone else did best. Oftentimes we can find ourselves, because this happened to me more than once, where I can find myself trying to, you think, ooh, I'm gonna go do fix and flipping. I'm not a fix and flipper. I'm a fix and flopper, period. I'm a buy and hold guy. It's what I do. I get cash flow, whether that's a dividend stock, whether that's in figuring out creative ways to do margin accounts or creative ways to do real estate, it doesn't really matter to me. I get cash flow. That's how my mind thinks. And what's cool is that I can find other people who think different ways, who have different skill sets, who can do the paperwork. I'm horrible at paperwork. I want to stay horrible at paperwork. I need good people who do paperwork, okay? Because I don't. But that doesn't mean I don't do paperwork, or my company doesn't do paperwork, or you don't do paperwork. It just may not need to be you that does it. Do what you do best. These are what he just shared with you is by far, he just shortcut, I don't even know how many years off your learning curve. If you will now go move at the speed of instruction and make these things happen, because this is what it comes down to. Hey guys, I know. You're like, man, it was just getting good. Now, this is one of those episodes where you're going through, and I'm just like, man, let's just keep going and going and going. And I'm going to get you right back to it. But first, I wanted to remind everyone, we're still not doing the question, or we're not doing the cash flow question on this episode. We will pick that up right after the book comes out. I want to give everybody an opportunity to get a sample copy of the book, sample chapter, that is. So what you're going to do, you can go to cashflowdiary.com/book, and you can click right on that link to request the free chapter. You can also send a text message with the word sample to 949-682-3565. 949-682-3565. So for those of you in the US, you want to do 949-682-3565. Send a text to the with the word sample in it, and it'll automatically send you back the sample chapters. Or for those of you outside of the US, or if you're just near a computer right now, go over to cashflowdiary.com/book, hit the free chapter button, and you too will be able to begin to understand why we're so excited over here about the book. Now, enough of that. Let's get back to the interview.
Can I give you another example, Jay?
By all means.
Okay, I find that people learn a lot through examples, and they always want to be told exactly the step-by-step approach. There isn't one. Stop hoping that one shows up. But I can give you a lot of examples to help you start thinking in a certain way so you can develop your own step-by-step. All right?
Excellent.
So this is one other thing that I've done in that transition period was when I shut down that business last year, and I accumulated a lot of really good skills. One of them was what's called copywriting. Copywriting is putting words on a page that make people want to pull out their wallet and buy. And that's a very, very valuable skill. And I was especially good at email copywriting, meaning you get an email from me, you're going to want to read it because it's very engaging. I'll probably tell a funny story. And at the end, you're going to somehow be like, wow, I don't know how he did it, but I want to pull out my wallet and give this person money. It's a great skill, and I enjoy doing it, but I wasn't enjoying doing it in that old business. I know I'm beating that horse dead, but I just wasn't enjoying using my skills in that business anymore. I didn't find it fulfilling. So once I shut down that business and was in that transition period, I started asking myself the question, how can I take this skill of email copywriting and go to the people who are willing to pay the most money for it and compensate me just for doing this one task? Now, here's the weird part of this, is that I can take someone's business who is already existing and I can change their email copywriting in about 6 hours, and I can make tens of thousands of dollars as an exchange for changing that process. So it takes me a day, and I can make what most people make in half a year doing it. Now, is that fair? Is that Am I being overcompensated for
No.
charging as much money? Well, the truth is, my little tweaks that take me about 8 hours might put $1 million extra in that business's pocket.
Right.
So for them to compensate me for one day's work of tens of thousands of dollars, they were thrilled with that exchange. Absolutely thrilled with that. So at first when I started doing it, and I didn't get everything right when I started doing this, was I just started taking clients who would pay me $3,000 to $5,000 a month to write one or two of these sequences for them. And then so many people were having good success that I stopped doing that. And then it was $10,000 up front plus a piece of whatever sales I generated for them. And now I can very quickly step in with something that's an easy skill of mine, easy for me to do, go in, make massive, massive impact in a business with one of my skills and get incredible amounts of monetary value back to me because I was able to create so much value in their business. That was me focusing on something that I'm really darn good at, looking at the people who I can create the maximum amount of value. That's why they're willing to pay the most money for it. That's a great indicator. Price is an indicator. Those who are willing to pay the most money are those who will enjoy the greatest value from your efforts. So I go to the people who are willing to pay the most because I know I can create the most value for them using a skill that's very easy for me, and I get compensated handsomely for it. And then I go do whatever I want with those resources. That's how you can start thinking about cash flow correctly, is when you see areas where you can easily create a lot of value and get compensated for it. When you can easily see that your knowledge and your skills will create value and you'll get compensated for it, now you have started to think like a cash flow king. Now, there is one problem that some people have, especially when they're first starting out, and that is they haven't developed the skill or the ability to produce that value. And that is where you need to work, is at developing the skill of providing that value so that the highest bidder will compensate you for it.
Oh my goodness. You hit on the most important thing right there. That's the purpose of personal development, everyone.
Did we just become best friends?
You in so many ways, you have no idea. It's just like, really? Okay, yes. You just keep taking the words right out of my mouth, and I'm loving this. Because people ask me all the time, Jay, you had a credit score of 398, you had no money. How did you do this? And I try to tell people, and they don't like the answer because I say, look, everything that I thought I knew, I had to discount as loss because clearly my best ideas put me in that situation. And the first thing we focused on is what we did with our time. Everyone says to me, I want to be an investor. Here's the news. You already are an investor. The
Amen.
challenge is what you've been investing in has paid a horrible return. And more importantly, your time is going down the tubes. And what you should be putting your time in, and you should divest yourself of what you're currently investing in and put your time into new talent. That new talent is the key. The new skills that Ryan is talking about right now. That oh my God, that is the holy grail of where everyone should be. You heard him say it himself. He picked up new skills, and we all are. I mean, if you haven't figured out already, this whole podcasting thing, it's a new skill for me. Okay. So I'm picking that up as I go. Now, what's interesting is that he used the word easy. Remember, the word easy simply means familiar. It is now familiar. It is so familiar. It's like tying your shoe. You know how to tie your shoe. The problem is the marketplace doesn't pay you for tying shoes. Therefore, it doesn't matter. But now he can easily create value, and lots of value, not a little bit of value, a lot of value. And it may be a paradigm shift for you to go, what? You do 6 hours of work and get $10,000? That's not right. That's not fair. Why isn't it fair? He did the work to develop the skill set that creates the value that could change and affect the lives of millions of people. That's what businesses do, is that we amplify value and distribute our value in various different formats and ways and increase the quality of life of our customer. What does the quality of life increase if the business earned $1 million? How many people were affected? And those are the things you take your time to invest into those new talent. That new talent leads you to new relationships. Those new relationships get you into the process of new credit and credibility. You earn that credibility with new people who then you begin to create the cash and cash flow. Then that begins to happen. And then you have equity. And then you eventually have what I call significance. That, my friends, is the process of becoming.
Jay, I'm twitching because I'm so excited to reply because you're speaking my language, buddy. There is a debate going on right now in Washington, D.C. about what the minimum wage should be.
Oh, God.
Now, as we're recording this right now, there was just an executive order signed for all public employees to be paid a higher minimum wage. It's a big debate that's going on right now. My prediction is it's going to go up over time. And the people who are pushing that are following a certain strategy. They're following the strategy of other people telling them what value they bring to the marketplace.
Right.
They're following the strategy of government officials telling them that they need to be compensated at a certain value. Now, that's a strategy. I find it to be a very insulting one because when we change the value that we're bringing to the marketplace, all of a sudden you're in control. Your boss isn't at fault. The government isn't at fault. The greedy bankers and those greedy entrepreneurs creating all these jobs are not at fault anymore. The person who's at fault is the person who's deciding how much value we're going to bring to the marketplace, aka that is you. And you mentioned that we're already investors.
Yes.
We're not only financial investors, we are investors in everything that we do. Every hour that you spend doing something, every dollar that you spend, everything that passes your lips that you put into your body is an investment. And it's time we start looking at what is the ROI that we're getting from our time,
Yes.
from where we spend our money, from the food that we put in our body. When we put certain food into our body, it has a direct financial ROI. And is the food that you're eating giving you a return on investment, or is it costing you dollars because you don't have the energy to produce value anymore? You only have the energy of investing your time and becoming a really good movie watcher. And that is how we need to start looking at our time and what we eat and the skills that we develop. Sometimes for me, watching TV is an investment because I work so hard, I burn out, and I need to relax in order to produce more value. That is cool. But when we start looking at it from a long-term ROI perspective, that has diminishing returns on investment, we call it in economic terms. For a short time, relaxing can put more money into your pocket if it allows you to create more value when you are spending your time creating value. But if the amount of value that you create stops when you come home from that job thing, or if it stops when you're no longer working, it's time to start looking at how can we spend our time more effectively to produce long-term returns on investment so that we can spend our time creatively creating more value or spending our time how we want that makes us feel most fulfilled. So we are always investing, we are always choosing, and it's time that we be more conscious with our choosing. Because if we don't, then Washington, D.C. will decide what your value is. And to me, that is slavery.
Oh, good Lord. Why have we not met sooner? Here's the thing. I'm going to just underscore a lot of what was just shared. Just understand, because I can remember the times when I would go, they should do something about it. They should pay me more. They should this, or I'm worth that much more. Here's the truth of the matter. You're worth what you're absolutely earning right now. And at the end of the day, well, actually, let me rephrase. You're worth more. You're accepting less. And those are the issues. And you can learn to create more value in the marketplace and therefore actually get closer to what you're actually worth. I don't think any of us will ever earn what we're worth because we're worth immeasurably more. So we've had some very important people die for us, if you get my meaning. And what I'm saying is the whole thing is, what you're saying, though, Ryan, requires such an intense amount of personal responsibility. I find that so few people are willing to take that chance, that ability to seize their moment and their control, and they hide behind fear and what they call, I'm trying to do it the wise way and the safe way and all this other stuff, or whatever other thing that gives them the freedom to feel comfort and not change. And I'm just like, it irritates the tar out of me to no end. When
it's easier to be a slave, Jay.
Well,
It's easier to be a slave if your slave master is providing for you.
well, and if you're asleep.
That's how most people are walking around.
No, well, not the ones listening to us right now.
Well, good. High five to you.
Now, the question is will they share this with other friends and wake them up? Now we're talking. Now we're talking, because then you'd have to you're making a statement once you do that. Once you say, hey, listen to this guy, Ryan. Hey, listen to this guy, Jay. Hey, look at what I'm doing. You're making that statement that says, I'm waking up and you should too. And sometimes that's uncomfortable.
Well, it is at first, once you give up what you believe to be secure.
Oh, God.
When you believe that you're secure and you give that up, there's a moment where your brain freaks out, because we're not wired. Evolutionary science tells us we are not wired to seek happiness. We are wired to seek safety. That is how you are currently wired. All of us do it. So when we do something that has a chance to make us way happier, we usually freak out because it's not the perceived safe thing. The safe thing is to wake up and keep doing what is allowing you to put food in your stomach. That is the safe thing. But the thing that produces the most happiness is usually that thing that makes you really scared, because someone in your brain is saying, this isn't safe. But you know what? On the other side of it is more safety and security than you could ever imagine staying in the state that you're in.
Oh my God. Yes. That's exactly, I'm just like, because I single points of failure. If you've listened to the show for any particular amount of time, you knew this was coming. You probably even said, ooh, Jay's about to say single points of failure, because that's the truth. That is perceived safety, false sense of security. I can't even tell you just how wrong that is because you are the single point of failure. If the only source of income or the only source of your food is through that job thing. I know we keep speaking foreign languages here, but the point is, if that's the only place where you have the ability to generate an income, and remember this, nobody on this planet needs a job. We all need a source of income. And those two things somehow got told to us that they were the same, and that's not true. There are many different places where income comes from, and that's the point of the Cashflow Diary. Is to bring this to your forefront through your mind and let you know that, look, there are many different ways to go out there and do it. Yes, I'm a real estate person, but that's not all I know, because you know what? The same thing happened. You end up in a situation where you're like, well, now what am I going to do? I got to do other stuff. And for me, that has turned into, coaching and teaching and flying around the world and showing people how this stuff is done. And I appreciate all of you who email in and saying, this is what I've done based upon what I've heard. This is what I'm doing now. These are the apartments I just bought. This is happening now. How can you help me here? That tells me you're engaged and you're not asleep. And that gets me fired up to do it over and over and over again, because there's only, it's more fulfilling to help you than it is for me to go out there and buy another commercial building with a cell phone tower on it. Now I'm going to do that anyway, because I actually enjoy that part, but it's even more fulfilling when you say, hey, I got my first single family house. Because that's you taking into actual action everything that we've talked about, developing the skills and learning all these things and making this happen. Ryan, we have got to talk about one very key subject, because right now, one of the biggest things that I see is that many individuals, they want to be entrepreneurs. I tend to call them wannapreneurs, right? And they want to go out there and make a difference and earn more money. And they may start from the how can I get more money place. But the point is, they need a particular new skill set. I think it's sales. I'm guessing you're going to say it's marketing or some combination of both, but I'm curious to hear from you what you think of the word marketing. What is marketing to you? How do we help those brand new people reach their markets? What is it that you could tell us that could help somebody make that happen?
That was a meaty question. So I would define marketing as the proactive exposure of potential value. Let me break that down into English here.
There you go, speaking foreign languages again.
I know. Oh, man. What that means, marketing is simply spreading the word that potential value exists. So for me, when I market my skills as an email copywriter, I'm letting people know that they're missing out on a lot of money that they could be making by not working with me. Or as a men's health and fitness business owner, our marketing is promoting our trainings, promoting our products to let people know that there's value in how their bodies look and what their health is that they're not experiencing by not having our products and services. This is when I had an online business training company. The way that I marketed myself was letting people know that there's a completely different lifestyle, a completely other way of earning money by learning certain skills. And that is marketing. It is exposing value that people are not consuming and enjoying yet. I would actually agree with you that the number one skill that people need to have is sales and marketing, but you have to have something to market. And that marketing, what you're marketing is wherever the value that you're bringing to the marketplace is. I know people who retire from their jobs and just keep certain clients that pay them for the exact same work that they were doing at a job, but they could do it on their own time, and they're paid for their value and not for their time anymore. I know one person who had a job at a company, and their job was to manage the salespeople at that company. They quit that job, and they went over to similar companies and said, look, I have all the contacts, I have all the skills, I know all of the things that need to happen in order for your sales department to make more money. And so here's what I charge. And this person actually pitched me, and I hired this person, but not on a job basis, as this person being an entrepreneur, bringing certain value to my business. I didn't care how much time they worked because they're not on my payroll. I don't walk into the office and see them working every day. I just see the money they're putting into my bank account. And you know what? That person had 6 other clients, 6 other people. And so now this person doesn't have 6 bosses. They have 6 people who pay them money to do the exact amount of work that they were doing at their job. That is marketing value that you bring to the marketplace. And you have value. You have things that bring value to the marketplace. You are probably not marketing them correctly because you're chasing what is safe, which is waking up and going to one employer who puts food in your stomach. But I'm telling you that you're producing and have the ability to produce much more value as an entrepreneur because you're already an entrepreneur. You're just settling for one customer. You're settling for one person who is giving you money. The real secret to cash flow is getting as many opportunities for people to give you money as possible. That is cash flow without you having to raise your hand and say, I'll trade my time for this income source. That is real cash flow. The number of opportunities that people have to give you money. Most people settle for just one, but there are an infinite number out there, and I suggest that you step in front of as many as possible.
Now, I'm just going to say this and leave it at that. For those of you who want to understand how I think about multifamily buildings, you just heard it. Each unit is an opportunity for someone to give me money. That's literally what it comes down to. And they need a place to live, work, play, or lay. That's why I like lots of units, because it does that very thing on a daily basis. And there's no way I could do all that work by myself. But Something you said that I thought was very, very interesting. You said you've got to have something of value. That's true. I agree. You got to have something of value. Talk to us a little bit, and we'll make this the last thing because we're running short. But talk to us a little bit about the time invested up front, that opportunity cost to a degree, that time that is invested up front that many people are paying huge amounts on simply because they're procrastinating, they're doubting, they're not taking the action. But even once they start, there's still more time that's invested up front before that asset is created and can actually begin to put money in your pocket. How on earth do you manage your emotions and make it through that?
Ha! That was not where I thought you were going with that question. How do I manage my emotions?
And make it through that. Because
and
if
make it
you've
through
never
that.
done it before, you're like, when is this thing going to pay off? You might quit too soon.
And most people do. And the management, first of all, I think there's a time management aspect to it. And the way I do that is just by carving out certain times of my day for certain projects. So today, I do things like record podcasts with people. I have time carved out for this.
Right.
And I don't do this on Friday. I do it today. and the emotional side of it is, for me, it comes down to remembering that something like security is a feeling. It's an emotion. It's not a real thing. Happiness is not a real thing. It's actually a comparison. The way our brain works is through comparisons. So whatever you perceive happy to be is just a comparison to another idea that you have, which is unhappiness. Security isn't a real thing. It's just a comparison that your brain makes to what it also perceives insecurity to be. These aren't real things. Success is the same way. There's no one can reach into your pocket and pull out success. It doesn't exist. Success is an emotion that we ascribe to a comparison in our brains to something else. So when you have an emotional response to something, when you have an emotional response to not wanting to do something or through that time period of transition, it's because your brain is comparing it to something else that isn't real. So when you remember that something like security is just a feeling, it's just a game that your brain is playing in order to stay alive, you get to choose the rules of that game. So who are you comparing yourself to? What is the comparison that's going on in your brain? If you freak out about something because it's not safe, what is your definition there of safety? And do we know that that's real? Because guess what? It's just an idea that's going on in your brain. So when you have a freak out moment or when you're struggling in something, it is just a game that's going on in your brain. It's just a comparison that's happening. Change the comparison and your whole world changes. So those freakouts that you go through, they're completely within your control to change, to manage. So you can change the rules of the game by change who and what you compare yourself to. And that is how you manage your emotional response through the time transition.
Awesome. Notice how he said when, not if. So that was very good too. Ryan, I'm definitely glad for the time that you've been able to invest with us here. And I just want to give you one last opportunity to say anything you'd like to say to anyone who's listening about right now they're probably going, how can I get more of this guy? He's so awesome. I want to follow and find him. Where can they find you? What else would you have to say so that they can make sure to continue their path, their journey in becoming the excellent cash flow creators that they are?
Cool. Thanks for that question. I currently don't have any products for sale. So if you want to give me money, I don't know how you can. So most people have like a product to sell or something. I don't. But I do have another podcast where I rant about things like this for free. And you can find that in the iTunes store at Freedom Fastlane. Or you can check out my blog where I rant like this and also put it in text sometimes at freedomfastlane.com. Again, I have nothing for sale right now. Maybe I will someday, but for now, I'm giving away everything I can for free at freedomfastlane.com. You can also find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Ryan Daniel Moran.
Excellent. Thank you, Ryan, for investing your time here with us. We at the Cashflow Diary, we are definitely indebted to you. Grateful. If there's anything that we can do to help you and continue that message, please let us know, because it has been refreshing, to say the least.
Thanks for having me, Jay.
You're welcome.
Thank you for investing your time with Jay Massey and the Cashflow Diary. When you have a moment, please visit iTunes and leave a positive comment about the show. And go now to our website, CashFlowDiary.com, to take advantage of our free business building course, Cashflow Foundation. Gain the knowledge, understanding, and skill that will teach you how to never need a job again. Until next time.